Ni hao, guys, and welcome. My name is NG Paradox, and we're here for another Total War Three Kingdoms lore video. Now, just want to apologize very quickly for the video before this. I've only made a few of these videos so far, and the last one was my Lu Bu video, and it ended up being a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I didn't expect it to go on that long. I remember talking and just going, okay, I'll mention this, okay, I can mention this, and that leads to this leads to that, and this person then comes. And I looked at the time, I was like, that's been about 20 minutes, hasn't it? It's been like an hour, and I was like, oh my, I've already been speaking for an hour? I thought it was like 20 minutes. And so the video ended up being a lot longer than I wanted it to be, because these videos for me were meant to be just an introduction. A way for people who maybe are fans of Total War but don't know much about the Three Kingdoms to kind of get maybe an understanding of the background and some of the characters. And maybe for those who have read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, maybe just have a quick refresher over some of the events. It's all meant to be very summarized, so that way we don't go into too much detail. But instead with the Lu Bu one, I went into maybe too much detail. And I know some people really like that because they feel it deserves. This topic does deserve that much time, to be honest. Many of the characters could easily go on for that long, but that's not really what I wanted this series to be, personally. Like I say, I'm still new to these types of videos, doing lore videos and such, so I'm not completely sure what you guys would want. I would say that the Lu Bu was going into way too much detail, the Dong Zhuao is maybe kind of in between one, and this one is going to be a very summarized version of events and how it could be used in the game, and discuss, what these things are about and why they're important. That's kind of what I want them to be, but obviously, you guys are what's important. It's whatever you guys want. That's what these series are about. Something you guys want to see. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. After you listen to this video, please tell me in the comment section, which of the 3 videos so far do you think is in the way that you want it? Do you prefer the Lu Bu one going into way too much detail and being extremely long videos? Or do you prefer this one, a very summarized form of events for those people who are new, maybe to Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Or would you like one, maybe the Dong Zhuao? I think that was quite a good balanced one. I didn't really get to talk about much about how maybe it might correspond to Total War that much in the end. So that was kind of my own fault. So that one was kind of more to the Lu Bu area. This is more what I'd like to do, or what I wanted to do in the first place. I hoped I'd build upon from the Dong Zhuao one. But obviously, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts because this is just what I'm thinking so far. So thank you for joining me for these events. Remember, I'm just a gamer who loves Total War and loves Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I just want to share that excitement with you. So let's jump right into today's topic. It is going to be the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Now, the Yellow Turban Rebellion is used as the opening event in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and is important as it is one of the events that will eventually lead to the Three Kingdoms in the future. And even though the event is dealt with early on in the story, even before Dong Zhuao's rise to power, it will continue to be a threat for many years to come. So even though it seems Total War is going to start with Dong Zhuao's rise to power, as we can tell from the trailer, and also if you go see the Steam store page, it does specifically talk about the fact the warlords have to combine together to take on his rise to power. We may still see the Yellow Turban Rebellion forces in some way or form. Maybe it could be used as a revolting faction. So if the unhappiness gets too low, like in Total War Warhammer, in Total War Warhammer, you might get, chaos forces appearing if your unhappiness gets too low. Revolt in Three Kingdoms maybe could have yellow turbans appearing. That could be a good way of doing it, to show that there's still these kind of resurgent forces from those days and events in the past. So even though the main events of it may have happened already, we may still get to see it as part of the game, and I would hope so. Though maybe CA will give us multiple starting scenarios, like in Rome 2. I mean, if we want to get an idea what this game is going to be like, it is good to look at the past games because they can give us a really good idea about what CA might try to do. So in Rome 2, obviously, they had lots of DLC which gave us many different scenarios. that could definitely be something they could do with Free Kingdoms. So we may see the Yellow Turban Rebellion come in as a DLC scenario or something. So one could start the situation with the rising of the Yellow Turban Rebellion and Zhang Jiao. Now, even though there is the possibility they may not be much involved in CA's Total War Free Kingdoms, though I hope of course they are, it is still useful to know about it, as it is background leading up to the events we'll likely see in the game. So if you don't know much about the Yellow Turban Rebellion, it's still good to know about them, because it's setting the groundwork for what led up to happening in Dong Zhao's rise to power, and even things after. Now, the Yellow Turban Rebellion was massive. It was extremely big rebellion. As I've said before in other videos, as you guys should know, China is a massive place with a very large population. When something like this happens, it is able sometimes to spread across the country like wildfire, and it can be extremely difficult to control. It was mostly comprised of the lower classes, the peasants, farmers, and soldiers, etc., and was led by three brothers, the Zhang brothers. Now, if you've read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, you probably know these three characters, especially the main leader. The main leader in a lot of media is shown slightly differently depending on the sources. The leader was the oldest brother, known as Zhang Jiao, who during the campaign was known as the General of Heaven. So there were definitely some religious overtones to this rebellion, possibly connected to Taoism. But then again, you know, I'm not very good when it comes to Chinese religion and the history of religions in China, though obviously there have been many different religions such as Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism that have led to obviously some different events. In Romance of the Three Kingdoms, though, he is usually portrayed as a sorcerer of sorts. Yeah, so he could do a bit of magic, apparently, in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. But in reality, it's likely from the sources that he was just a healer using Taoist teachings, which had allowed him to gain renown throughout the small folk. So you can kind of see the connection here. A lot of people maybe who are great healers, you know, they heal someone, people don't know how they do it, and so then maybe it gets kind of pushed, you know, into legend, and the word spreads around that this man can heal you. They go to see him, he can heal them as well. Someone's name can spread quite quickly. But in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, he can do a bit of magic. When I say a bit of magic, I mean like he can do crazy magic. Like it's pretty cool. It's not talked about much, but it is there. That's why you'll see in some mediums he's basically a sorcerer with magical powers. His brothers were Zhang Bao and Zhang Liang. Together, they would recruit those that would listen by healing them and then getting them to spread the word, and then constantly spreading the word of this revolt in the future. So will we see Zhang Jiao with magical powers in Total War Three Kingdoms? In some mediums, a lot of ones that base their storyline off Romance of the Three Kingdoms, you normally do see him with some sort of magical abilities. But in Total War Three Kingdoms, I think from the trailer, it looks like maybe they would be going with Romance of the Three Kingdoms. But then again, if they're going to add magic into Total War Three Kingdoms, there isn't that much magic in the series. There's a little bit of magic here and there, a few characters that do something slightly magical, and of course there's a couple of curses here and there, if I remember correctly. But there's not really too much. That to add it as a mechanic for one character seems a bit, maybe, over the top. They might give him a few abilities, as you've seen in Total War Warhammer. A lot of characters maybe would give buffs to their troops. They could give him some sort of healing buff to his troops. That way it kind of keeps it to the magic. You could say he's using magic to heal them, but it also keeps it to the historical of the fact that he was a healer. So there's many ways they could go around this. If they do introduce him to give him magic, you know what? I'm not completely against that. I do like Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It will be kind of cool. And we have seen in Total War Warhammer that they have done magic, obviously, in that series. But I think it unlikely. I think what they might do is they might go with Romance of the Three Kingdoms, maybe slightly more towards that for where the characters are and what the characters are like, and their personalities and such. But I think they might keep the fantastical elements, there's few magical moments, out of the game. That's what I expect them to do, but who knows? Now you may be asking, why would people now be willing to join this rebellion? Well, there was a number of parts involved. Firstly, a main cause was the situation of the small folk. Things were not good due to the exploitation by landowners and famine, droughts, and plagues. So there was a lot of discontent with the people. This then combined with the perceived indulgences of the Emperor Ling, where the government was seen as a corrupt and incapable force. So the situation the peasants found themselves in was usually blamed on the government, which probably had some, there probably was some truth to that. The rebellion would say the emperor had lost his mandate of heaven. Now, the mandate of heaven, if maybe you don't know what this is the idea or belief that heaven has chosen the emperor to rule. And when an emperor is overthrown, this is usually, they say, an indication that he is unworthy and has lost their mandate to rule. So due to a natural disasters, as well as perceived incompetence in the rulers, and of course the peasants' not very satisfying situation, and of course, like I said, there was likely some Taoist religious ideals amongst this as well, especially with the leaders and their healing skills. It wasn't too difficult for the brothers to find many allies and rally the people to their cause. Wearing their yellow turbans, people flocked to the cause, which would lead to millions dying in the conflict. So, to allow the rebels obviously to identify who was part of their group, they would wear yellow turbans. As the name suggests, and you probably could have guessed. Things for the rebellion, though, did not start correctly. Zhang Jiao's plot for rebellion was discovered before it even started in the capital of Liaoyang, and so he was forced to start it sooner than he would have liked. But quickly, the rebellion spread like wildfire throughout China. The emperor appointed his brother-in-law, He Jin, to control the imperial armies and suppress the rebellion. Obviously, if this goes out of control, this could be the end of the emperor and the Han dynasty. So whenever there's a rebellion like this that's spreading quite quickly, you need to put it out as soon as possible. So after He Jin, he also appointed and sent 3 generals, Lu Ji, Zhu Jun, and personally my favorite, Hong Fu Song, who would also go on to help Wan Yan and his plot to kill Dong Zhuo. Many warlords and future notable people would take part in the quelling of the rebellion. This would include many big names that we'll learn either in future videos or maybe we talked about a bit in previous videos, such as Dong Zhuo, Cao Cao, and the 3 sworn brothers Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. Liu Bei would lead a small group of volunteers, but find success actually due to some ingenuity and of course the strength of his 2 brothers, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, being able to defeat some of the yellow turban officers. Hong Fu Song would show himself to be a competent and capable commander and found a lot of success in beating back the Zhang brothers. In the end, all 3 of the Zhang brothers would be defeated, and Zhang Jiao would actually die of illness during the fighting, and so the leadership would pass on to his 2 brothers, though next Zhang Liang would fall in battle, and finally Zhang Bao. Though in Romance of the 3 Kingdoms, if I remember correctly, Zhang Bao is actually betrayed by one of his subordinates and killed. They cut off his head and show it to, obviously, the Emperor's men surrendering. So you can see here that the war actually doesn't seem to last very long. In the end, all 3 of the Zhang brothers are defeated and killed, thanks to the efforts of the Han generals, particularly the ones that he sent, Lu Ji, Zhu Jun, and of course, I said my favorite, Hong Fu Song. but many of the characters would gain recognition for their efforts, like Cao Cao and Liu Bei, as well as, of course, many other officials. Though the rebellion was dealt with, it would continue to affect China for decades, with remnants springing up and also those inspired by them. So if the Yellow Turban Rebellion is not in the start of Total War Three Kingdoms, maybe they could end up, as I said, being a rebellion faction. That would be kind of nice, at least to be able to see them. I'd be very surprised if they're not involved in some way or form, even if we start with Dong Zhuo. But you never know. You never know. We have no idea. We haven't got enough information yet. We don't know the facts. But that's what we've got. Obviously, as I said at the beginning, many people died during this conflict, and it left the Han government with a lot of work to fix. This would lead to many local leaders and officials to gain more self-governing powers, and one might say helped lead to the Han dynasty losing control even quicker due to the growing strength of some of these and later individuals. So there you go, guys. A quick, brief, summarized version of events for the Yellow Turban Rebellion, just giving you the names of important characters, maybe what they did, and why it happened, and what it led to. That was really the idea for this video. Now, obviously, this is just one event before the events of Dong Zhuo's rise to power. So this video is always going to be a bit shorter than some of the other videos I've done. So don't compare this one, obviously, to Dong Zhuo or Lu Bu's video. It's meant to be shorter, but you can tell the idea of the summarized version of events. I would love to know from you guys, is that something you'd like to continue to see? Or do you not like it? Do you hate the fact maybe that there's less information involved and you want more maybe specific information? Personally for me, I think this is a really good look into understanding the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and of course we know what happens after. If you combine the videos, obviously this is then the events leading up to Dong Zhuo's rise to power. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I've been NG Paradox, and of course I'd love to see what you think in the comment section. What do you want to see from these videos? And there'll be more people, more characters, and more event videos coming up in the near future. So yes, 再见.